Welcome to Matt Martin Real Estate Management's Fdcpa Training class. Fdcpa stands for the Federal Debt Collections Practices Act. As realtors, you are tasked with the fiduciary responsibility of protecting your client's best interests. Before a client is a client, however, they are just another consumer. When soliciting consumers, we are confident you are more than familiar with being in compliance with the Do Not Call list. As salespersons, we are confident in your passion to seek out interested consumers and market your invaluable services. But when your consumer is delinquent on their mortgage, and you become privileged to this information by the creditor or its representatives, you must also be compliant with the Fdcpa. So let's talk about the good news. When properly executed, this new responsibility can become a great asset. Helping someone out during stressful times, such as short sales, often builds friends and clients for life. So long as you demonstrate patience and adherence to the compliance regulations of the Fdcpa, we can use your help and you can help us. When speaking to the borrower, you must identify yourself and MMREM. Give them a copy of the identification letter. This should be provided to you through an MMREM associate. MMREM is hired to help manage the real estate transaction only, and they are not managing the resolution of the borrower's debt, nor will any of MMREM's agents or representatives speak on behalf of the debt. If a borrower wishes to speak with MMREM, you should inform them that if it has to do with the real estate transaction, to go through you. And if it is regarding their debt, they can go through you or the servicer, so long as you have an authorization to speak on their behalf. MMREM will provide suggestions to make the transaction go smoother through increased communication with the servicer and the investor. Brokers should not communicate with the seller at any unusual time or place known to be inconvenient to them. Unless the seller requests otherwise, brokers may only make contact after 8 o'clock ante-meridian and before 9 o'clock post-meridian local time at the seller's location. We're sure you already knew this, and this is probably normal best practices that you already have established in your current business. We just wanted to remind you that according to the Fdcpa, you also must adhere to this rule. Here's another disclosure for you. Brokers should not communicate with a seller if the broker knows that they are represented by an attorney for the debt. However, brokers may contact the seller directly if that attorney fails to respond to communication within a reasonable period of time, or the attorney consents to your direct communication with the seller. Brokers should not contact the seller at their place of employment if the broker is aware that the seller's employer prohibits the seller from receiving such communications. Unless the broker has received the prior consent of the seller given directly to them, brokers should not provide any details of the debt to any person other than the seller, their retained attorney, a consumer reporting agency, the creditor, the attorney of the creditor, or MMREM's attorney. This permission may also be granted by an appropriate court or as reasonably necessary to execute a post-judgment judicial remedy. If a consumer notifies a broker in writing that he or she refuses to pay a debt, or that they want the broker to cease further communications with them, broker cannot communicate further with them about the debt. The Fdcpa makes it illegal to harass, oppress, or abuse any person in connection with the collection of a debt. However, the law does not define the word harass. Therefore, the courts can interpret it when such a case comes up under the section of this law. The Fdcpa prohibits any false, deceptive, or misleading representations or methods to be used when collecting a debt. Here's an example outreach when door knocking. Are you Mr. Smith? Hello, Mr. Smith. How are you doing today? My name is Noah Martin with Keller Williams Realty. I work in tandem with MMREM, who is hired by your mortgage servicer. MMREM asked me to contact you in person to see if there might be a way they could work with you to help you stay in your home. You should have received this letter in the mail. It was sent on this date and at this address. Here's a copy just in case you might have misplaced it. Do you remember receiving this letter? See, the servicer would like to see if there's anything I can do to help you. As a realtor, I understand the real estate market conditions, and as a person, I understand these tough times. Often, there are many options for you. Let's build some rapport with our borrowers. What you want to say to a borrower when you first meet them is that you're not here to collect money. and you're just here to see if you can offer any assistance. Many other people are in similar situations, and it's the least I can do as a local realtor to stop by and see if I can offer my professional assistance. You should know that your servicer wants to help. If you feel comfortable, why don't you give me a snapshot of your situation, and I'll try to provide you with some possibilities you may or may not have been aware of. Once the person has built this report and you've built that bridge, present the proper disclosures and help them prepare their financial documentation. If they need more verification from you, have them call their servicer to verify and leave a business card for them to call you back. Quite possibly the most important question you want to ask when talking to a borrower is, do you want to stay in your home? If yes, then you should tell them that's great. Help them prepare the proper financial documentation. Provide them with the contact information for your servicer and report these findings back to MMREM. Your scorecard will increase every time you keep someone in the home. If no, however, then you should ask them if they've ever heard of a short sale. Go over the benefits of a short sale for them and for the servicer. Let them know you are experienced with these transactions, and MMREM is there to help increase communication throughout the process. The mini Miranda disclosure. This is a disclosure that needs to be placed at the end of all your email signatures and your marketing media when you're going to help find borrowers for a servicer or for MMREM. Please take a second to read this over. Third-party informants, better known as friends of the family or your neighbors. You may contact third parties to obtain the borrower's information. If you inquire of neighbors or other third parties, identify yourself. State that you are confirming or collecting location information concerning the borrower. Only and only if expressly requested, you may tell the third party you are with MMREM. It is strictly prohibited to disclose that you are working for or in liaison with the borrower's mortgage servicer. Only one contact attempt is allowed with any particular third party regarding the borrower's location. Let's further that last thought. You should never use any language or symbol on an envelope or any type of communication that can be seen by the public, sent by mail or telegram, that indicates that the borrower owes money or that the mortgage servicer is trying to collect money. The following are considered unfair practices and are strictly prohibited. Collecting any amount other than the amount authorized by the agreement creating the debt, unless state law permits such a charge. Prematurely depositing a post-dated check. Concealing the true purpose of a call to cause the borrower to accept and pay for collect calls or pay for telegrams. Taking or threatening to take a borrower's property unless this can be done legally or if there is no present intent to take such a property. And communicating with a borrower regarding a debt by postcard. More prohibited actions includes not falsely implying that the borrower has committed a crime or that the non-payment of a debt will result in arrest or imprisonment, the seizure, garnishment, attachment, or sale of any property or wages unless such action is lawful and the debt collector or creditor intends to take such action. You should not falsely represent that you operate or are employed by a credit bureau. You should not misrepresent the character, amount, or legal status of a debt. Should not indicate that documents sent to the borrower are legal forms when they are not. Or, you should not indicate that documents sent to the borrower are not legal forms when they are. You should not contact a borrower who in writing requested that the debt collector cease further communications with the borrower or has informed the debt collector that the debt or any portion thereof is in dispute other than to inform the borrower that the debt collector will cease attempts to contact the borrower, or to notify the borrower that either the debt collector or creditor will take specific action or invoke specified remedies. You should not contact the borrower that has retained an attorney with respect to the debt. You should not give false credit information about the borrower to any person. This includes the failure to communicate that a disputed debt is disputed. You should not send a borrower a writing that looks like an official document from a court, official, or state or federal government agency when it is not. And you should not use a name other than the true name of the debt collector's business. You may not use any false or misleading statements when collecting a debt. For example, you may not falsely imply that you are an attorney or that any communication is from an attorney. You may not falsely imply that you are vouched for, bonded by, or affiliated with a state or federal government entity. Any person or entity that violates the Fdcpa is subject to fines levied by the FTC, as well as being liable for damages awarded in a civil suit. Both MMREM and you could be liable. Thank you for attending the Matt Martin Real Estate Management Fdcpa training class. If you need more information, feel free to contact MMREM at the number and location below. We look forward to working with you.